You are still tuned to the live studio of Nigerian Decides from Independent Television. From Benin, reaching you to anywhere around the globe that you are receiving our signals. We know quite well we're going to take the next round of interview now. We have with us a beautiful lady to at least change the whole complexion, so to speak, in this place. Doris Ogbeifun, social activist. Welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Barrister Pius Oyewo, one-time NBA chairman, Benin Branch. Welcome to our program.
It's my pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is mine. I know you like speaking so much of grammar because you are the only people that are learned. Let's do it this way. This question is the question I'll be asking almost everybody. Let me start with our beautiful lady here. It's like this. Should you take your thermometer to check the temperature of the polity now, of the election that is coming? How? What will your thermometer be telling you?
Normal. To be 36.
To be 36?
Yes, normal, because we are not doing governorship election in Edo State. I am talking about in Edo, not the Nigeria at large. In Edo, it's just House of Assembly election that we're about to do tomorrow. And the tempo is normal, and we are just
with what we are seeing in those states, you think the tempo is normal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the tempo is normal. There's no issue. There's no reason for alarm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Barrister, we'll keep your gun aside now. Let's use some kind of medical term. The same question I ask her, what I'm asking you. Well, should you test the temperature of the polity now? What will your thermometer be reading?
It will be reading very high.
Okay.
Very high because in terms of degrees centigrade,
okay,
because you know it's the hot one. Okay. This is because we're discussing here Nigeria Decides, so we're not particular about Edo State. But even if Edo State is in focus, the House of Assembly election is as important as the governorship election, even if we had a governorship election coming up in Edo State. The reason being that the legislative arm of government is very, very strategic and important. Not just strategic and important, it is critical. Critical in the sense that these are persons who play a pivotal role in shaping our polity and then ensuring too that we enjoy good governance. And because of the importance that it deserves, you would have observed that we have a lot of enthusiasm, and campaigns have been very high within the last few days. And the different political parties have stepped up their games in ensuring that they clinch the seats in the House of Assembly to get majority. And you will agree with me, just as we hear from different states of the Federation, I'm not particular about Edo now, that when you have a vibrant House of Assembly, of course, it also determines the output and the kind of governance that you get from the executive. We are running a presidential system of government. And being a presidential system of government, we expect that the different arms of government should be seen working and then being on a kind of active. And then you realize that the legislative arm is there to check the excesses of the executive, and then the judiciary is also there to interpret. So every arm of government is very, very important. Okay. If we do not have a House of Assembly, of course, that will suggest that we are having a kind of an autocratic or a military dispensation, or a unitary system of government. Right. So the House of Assembly is very, very important. They are lawmakers. They also carry out oversight functions. Okay. Besides, they also have the capacity to be able to inspect which I have talked about, carrying out oversight functions, to pass legislations, and then to represent their constituents, that is those that they are representing, to ensure that the good governance is at the beck and call, within their constituencies, so that they can enjoy, these persons that they're representing can enjoy good governance and
okay, Doris, let me come to you now. Somebody described the next house, the next National Assembly, that he said is going to be an assembly of a rainbow because the number of parties that are enjoying seats there now. At the Senate, we have 7 political parties are enjoying some seats there. At the House of Representatives, we have about 8 of them, 8. Are we expecting anything of such in those states after the conduct of this House of Assembly?
Okay, I would say for now, the dial has been cast.
Okay.
Both political parties have done well to market their candidates.
No, if you are saying both,
so
but we have more
all political parties have done well to market their candidates. So it is now left for the electorate to decide whom to cast this vote for.
Okay.
And our forecast now, or assumption now, to see what happened in the National Assembly could replicate in the State House of Assembly here.
Well, we have different political parties in the House.
Yes, we can't really say much about that, not until the electorate decides whom they are sending to the House. So for now, I would like to dwell more at the national level because results are out and we've seen the mixture of different political parties. And I would assure you that it's not going to be business as usual. It's not going to be a yes type of deliberations and rejection or passing of laws. Now it's going to be like the interest of the people will now be represented. It will replicate that lawmaking now will now be something that it will take more time in deliberating and deciding which of the law we are going to pass, and not what will come and just begin to have a serial, a kind of a nay to what we are, everything that is being presented on the table. Now is going to be like citizens will be represented. And again, in the state level, I would like to say that, like I said earlier, that the temperatures for me is normal, because I wouldn't want a situation where our electorate will be threatened or will as a result of this high tempo that we're talking about to resort to voter apathy. I see it that it's something that each and every one of us has to just come out and exercise that franchise peacefully, have a peaceful conduct of our manners, and we just have to do it. We don't really need to start raising dust about the temperature. Yes, even at classrooms level, while we are preparing for exams, there is this anxiety, there is this tension and all. It's everywhere, it's in everything. But we cannot, because of that tension, derail from coming out to exercise that our civic responsibility. Now it is our responsibility to replicate what had happened at the national level, to repeat itself at the state level, where we can have a robust House of Assembly, where ideas and policies that can trickle down to the poorest of the poor in rural villages, policies that are people-friendly, policies that are people-oriented, policies that will really make impact. We don't want to have a house where we begin to see elephant policies where it will just benefit only the executives. Okay, we want to have a house where every citizen's interest will be fully represented. So tempo is normal. It's just for us to make use of our PVC, that they walk to your polling units and do justice to that point.
Before today, Barrister Oyewo, we had, it was a kind of two-horse race. You understand, between two political parties. Now they say there's a third force. They are even saying there's a fourth force, whether you like it or not, because for you to have as much as 8 political parties enjoying seats in the House of Representatives, as much as 7 at the red chamber, that's to tell you that their awareness or the whole thing, the whole narrative have been changed. So what do you think, what do you make of these other forces that is joining the first 2 horses that we had in the race?
Yeah.
Well, I've always expected that we'll get to this kind of situation that we find ourselves. It's a welcome development in our political history. You recall that prior to this time, like you have alluded, we've had a 2-party kind of like a system, right. Yes. And even if we have so many political parties running for an election, 2 eventually come up to be the most dominant in the race. But now we are seeing a 3rd force and even a 4th force.
Or maybe the 8th
of course,
force.
and even yes. And it's, to me, increases the space of political participation. If you are not comfortable with what a particular political party is offering or putting on the table, of course, you move to another political party. And then it's a warning signal to the major political parties, so to speak, the 2 major, as it were, before, that a time will come when people will begin to also go to other platforms that will challenge the status quo. And that, again, is a clarion call for them to do what is needful, to deliver on their manifestos, to ensure that the political party that they are representing delivers on its OAS, and then do kind of what you call dividends of democracy to Nigerians. And then ensure also that there is an internal democracy within the party. You see, part of what we have experienced over time is that the, kind of quote and unquote, the major political parties, 2 political parties in the past, at a time were seen to be like the lords. And then they were, with the greatest respect, they threw the issue of democracy, internal democracy, to the wind. And they also created a platform wherein people were not, majority were not having their say. They will say, oh, the leader at the top has said it. And because I haven't said it, other persons do not have any say as to what to, what to bring on the table. But what we are seeing now is a situation where people would be judged, or political parties will be judged by the way they conduct their affairs. Okay. And once one sees himself in a political party that is embracing, that of course gathers the intellectuals, not only the intellectuals, those who have pedigree, then of course you will see people going to such areas and then identify.
Maybe I need to chip in this.
Yes.
Before today, somebody said too many hands spoil the cook.
Yes.
You understand? Or too many hands
spoil the soup.
Okay, too many hands, or too many cooks spoil the soup.
Yes.
Or whichever. I don't think this Rainbow National Assembly, should we replicate such maybe at the state level? We could have some kind of chaotic house. To have different political parties.
Yeah,
you don't think that would be chaotic?
I do not think so. Okay. First of all, the framers of the laws, both the Constitution and the Electoral Act, they also envisage that a political situation, the House of Assembly, for instance, should enjoy representation from different political parties, depending on which political party is able to sell its manifesto and then convince the electorate to support it. And mind you, when we have so many persons or different political parties in the House, that also creates an opportunity for a kind of enhanced an improvement of ideas. And then so many persons will not, the practice where a particular group of persons under the guise of a particular political party begin to lord over the other persons will not be in our best interest, and it will not help us as a democracy. Okay. So I think it is important, and it is a welcome development that we have persons from different political parties in a house, because it would also create room for competition, healthy competition in the sense that these persons are coming from different political parties. They're also having ideas. They're also having manifestos. Of course, in the course of the electioneering process, they are assured their constituents that, oh, this is what they are going to do. These are the kind of bills that they are going to kind of sponsor. These are the kind of dividends that they are going to of course, guarantee, and then they are going to attract government's attention to their constituencies. And when you have a thing like this, of course, it creates a robust House of Assembly, a vibrant House of Assembly, a House of Assembly that is not only seen to be not being aggressive in a negative sense, but people are able to have their say, and the people are able to, of course, express themselves. And then, of course, we know that, like in a democracy, majority will have their way, and then minority will ordinarily have their say. But people will be judged by what they say and what they do.
Most of the governors canvassing for votes now for the House of Assembly, Doris, they are saying it will be better for them, the governors in the center or the party in the center, so to speak, at the state house, state executive, to be better for them to have majority or more numbers of the people in the house in order for things to move on seamlessly. Do you believe in this school of thought?
Yes, I do. I would like to throw little light on your previous question. Okay. Then I can drive down to this. Having different political parties now in the National Assembly, and we projecting to look that same will replicate in the state, because it will be a kind of, there will be a kind of demerit that has to do with having chaos in the house. Because from the drama that played out at the presidential, during the presidential election, a lot of candidates explored and took advantage or rode on the back of some figures, trusted characters that was flag bearers of certain political party. And these candidates happened to be opportuned or lucky to be voted in, because I envisaged or I sensed that electorates had reservations maybe for the different figures that came out in major political parties, and just decided to, they said, throw away their votes to other parties. Now, when you talk about, when I said it will kind of bring chaos in the house, because lawmaking is a thing that can be done with competence and experience. You know, you must have that expertise or competence or that knowledge for you to make reasonable policies. And when you are
as a representative of your place, then you should be able to tell what the people like, what they need, and all of that. You should be able to bring them to the fore and tell the house, this is what we want.
See, it's not done. It is not done by mere saying. It requires skills for you to get it done. And if you
but there's people that learn on the job.
Yes, it will take time. That is why I'm saying this. When you are learning on the job, the time at which you would have used to hit the ground running.
Whether we like it or not, democracy is about popularity. So should you be popular and you are voted for, you are in the house, whether you have the so-called experience in quotes or not, the most important thing that you are representing a constituency.
You are representing a constituency, but the impact you need to make is what matters, what can change your constituency. It's not just that, like you, as I told you earlier, it's not all about coming to represent your constituency. It's about the content of your character, whom you are, your experience, what you have done in the past. And like I told you earlier, so many of them that were voted in are naive. They are just naive.
Before we had the likes of Bajabia Amila, before we had the likes of Ahmed Lawan, before we had the likes of Ekwere Madu and the rest of that, they were all timers at a point.
First timers.
You understand? At a point.
If you do your research, you would understand, or you will see that at that point, their constituency suffered somehow.
Okay, that's what
because
you're saying.
yes.
Okay, coming home now, the second question that I asked that has to do with maybe a one-party system, so to speak, in the House. You think that's going to make things better?
Well, having a one-party system in the House does not really, it will not have that taste of democracy.
Okay.
Like what we have now. Citizens are agitating to feel, to have the taste of democracy. I am looking at this scenario to be a vote of candidate, a vote of character, not a vote to political party.
Okay.
Are you getting me? So if one political party is fortunate to have candidates who are credible and who are worthy, who want the electorate's votes, and they happen to make a majority in the House, thumbs up to them. But when you are from certain a political party, you are not known, you do not have requisite experience to be able to convince. Yes, it matters in lawmaking. Okay. I know what it takes to make a law. Okay. Yes, I know what it takes to make sure that a bill is passed into law. It's not child's play. And I know what it takes to represent constituency. See, communities have suffered a lot. I've been in this state, and at least for me not to boast, I have been to over 40 communities in Edo State. And I can tell you that there are some communities that are still being cut off from the national grid. So you having a representative who is still very naive to represent your interest, it is going to be a heavy blow for you in the next 4 years. Okay. So that is why. Are we saying the first timers should not be voted for, that we should go for the people that have been there forever? It depends on what the first timer, his area of expertise, his level of experience. If you have such requisite requirements to represent your constituency, and you are fortunate and they found you worthy, your manifesto is strong enough for them to believe in you and they vote you in, I think this is a thumbs up to you. But I am trying to let our electorates who are looking at their PVCs now, cleaning it, to go and do justice with it. Yes, I am telling them that this vote tomorrow should be a vote of candidates, a vote of competence, a vote of experience, not a vote of compensation or a vote of wasting your vote, like some used to say, oh, I am tired of so-so-so party or so-so-so party. Let me just go and waste it. That word you said, waste, it will remain waste. When you are voting in person, you cannot attest that can represent your interest at the at the House of Assembly. I mean, you are going to suffer in the next 4 years. Okay. And again, we having a robust House of Assembly is equally okay, because what we have today is a game of victimization. Okay. I'm sorry to say this, because even within our little organizations that we work in, you begin to see some persons, you have robust, beautiful policies in place, beautiful projects in place, just because they have one or two personal issues with you. They would like to make every effort to truncate that your policy, to truncate that your vision. So I wouldn't like to say that having different political parties would breed dividends of democracy, but I would like to say that having different political parties, if we are fortunate to get so, let it be geared towards development, not political vendetta, not victimization. Okay, that is the angle myself I'm looking at it. So electorate at home, you looking at your PVC, if that your candidate is promising you otherwise, apart from looking at developmental issues that can project your constituency, please, I think you need to think twice. We have suffered enough. So we need someone who can hold on to the plow and not look back.
Okay, you know what? I wanted to ask Barrister a question, but I will not, because I saw that while she was busy talking, you were raising your hand up like a classroom classroom student. It's like there's something you wanted to say while she was talking.
Well, I had mentioned before that the participation or representation in the House of Assembly, it's more of a game of number.
Okay.
And the ability for members to also lobby to be able to get majority of persons to key into what they have set out to achieve for their constituencies. So we sincerely want a vibrant house. And we can, even the executive knows that a vibrant house is the way out.
How do you define a house that is vibrant?
Yes, a house that can tell the executive that, look, what you have set out to do is not in the interest of our people.
Okay.
or I have consulted with my constituencies.
Okay.
And this is what my people want.
You think it's only a rainbowed house that
Yes.
can make it vibrant?
When we have, not just because it is a rainbow house or whatever, but again, you know that there are certain decisions that are taken in the house. We must tell ourselves the truth here. There are certain decisions that are taken in the house, or that are intended to be taken in the house, that will, if the entire membership of the house is from one political party, they will go and discuss with their leader. Or the chairman of the party will call them and say, look, cooperate with the executive, allow this thing to just go. Whether it is people's friendly or not. So we do not want a thing like that. We want a house that will assist the government also in achieving or delivering the dividends
I
of
was
democracy.
going to somewhere just now
Yes.
when I said in almost all the states across the federation, almost all the governors, sitting governors, are saying people should vote only for their candidates in order for us to kind of have a kind of seamless passage or the ability to be able to pass policies and back on projects that is for the good of the people. That's what they are saying.
Yes.
They always use that word seamless. You understand? But don't you think, on that school of thought is believing that when you have so-called seamless House of Assembly that will kind of contour to everything that the executive says, that will be a kind of extension of,
Yes, that is the point
of the government house.
Yes, you have made that point, and that point is
I just painted the two scenarios.
You know, I think I
painted the two pictures.
Yes, I'm in agreement with the two schools of thought that you have presented. We agree that the executive, as we have in the different states of the federation, I'm not particular about a state, would want a situation where members of the House of Assembly the honorable members are in line with what they do. We also know that the executive, in the discharge of its policies, in the policies that they make, in the bills that they also present to the House, and then in the actions of government, they make mistakes in most areas. They blunder. They also introduce policies that may be, of course, against the interests of the people. They don't know everything. I mean, God forbid that an executive or a governor knows it all. Now, I haven't realized that, yes, an executive could make mistake. An executive could bring a policy that will have hardship, that will cause untold hardship to the people. Then, they can only be checked by a house which has the representative of the people. The members of the House of Assembly, from what I know in the past, they visit their constituencies almost every weekend. That is what we know in the past. And they also feel the pulse of the people, of their constituency. And that is why in some states of the federation, particularly in the north, we see persons who have been into the House, either in the reps or in the Senate, about 4 or 5 times. This is because also they have developed a kind of a relationship with their constituencies, that the people that they represent want them to go to the House as many times as possible. They become ranking members of the House of Assembly or of the National Assembly. And that, of course, brings to bear the experience that my sister was talking about. Right. But that is not to say that a first-timer cannot do it well. A first-timer can sincerely go to the House and then be able to do what they need to do, and they even bring in to table what the previous, the so-called ranking members were unable to achieve. So, having said that, the point I'm making is that we sincerely need a house that is vibrant, and a house that can also be a check. The primary responsibility first of the house
is check and balance.
Is check and balance. Right. Not a house that kowtows or a house that says a yes house, for instance. And I believe that an executive will also be on its feet, will up its game, would also sit up when they see that there is a house that is checking it and that its activities will be called to question. So they will also be careful, and then before you know it, every person has a good image of himself. The executive will be proud that, oh, we have a vibrant house. Then the legislative arm too will be happy that, oh, we've been able to speak, and then we've been able to organize public hearings, and then we'll be able to also reach out to people, and then our people are seeing us representing them in good light. And then that will also be a proper foundation for them to get to the National Assembly because of what they've been able to achieve while in the lower house. So some of these persons may have been legislators either in school parliaments, in their universities. They have been legislators either in the local government as councillors or
maybe their homes.
And then by the time they get
their
to
homes, because
maybe their homes too.
Yeah,
and by the time they get there, and you see, there's one thing I like about my people, the Edo people, generally, people from Edo State. In the evenings, particularly for those who enjoy nightlife.
Those who like socializing.
Yes, who like socializing. And
we have so many of them.
I know you enjoy.
We have so many of them. I can't remember the last time you called me.
So they interact with their people.
Okay.
And in the course of those discussions, they are able to also ensure that they know what their people really need. And then they also get some private bills, which is sponsored before the House of Assembly, that will ensure good governance for our people. And in addition to, you realize that in the course of this interaction, they are also able to get complaints by way of petitions that people have brought in to say, oh, look, social workers have been dismissed from social place. And then the House of Assembly looks at it and then advises, carry out an investigation, and then advises the executive. It is not all matters that should go to court. We also know that, yes, there are there could be delays, and then bad blood too, and the rest of them. But when matters are resolved by the House, and the executive, by way of resolution being passed about a particular matter, then it is forwarded to the executive for implementation. Then, of course, we have a better house, and then the people, government is now also brought to the grassroots properly, and then people also feel the pulse of governance.
No problem. Let me go to Doris now. You see, the average Nigerian has, to a very large extent, lost its trust in many of our politicians. You understand? It's not because Thomas Ado is saying it. When you go out, it's there. So it's out there for us all to see. And let's not forget that in the business of lawmaking, the one ingredient is very, very paramount, and that is a lobby. You have to lobby. Lobbying is one thing again, and all of that. You could go there with some good intention to go and represent your people. Before the man gets to his office, political office, before he's maybe elected into that office, you see the man is here, everybody, your concern is my concern, their concerns are our concerns, and the rest. But once they get there, and you belong to the other side of the divide, I'm talking about the political party now that is not on the same, with the executive, with the executive. Let's put it that way, with the executive. There's this role of money. Because everybody, whether we like it or not, money has a role it plays in Nigerian politics, in politics all over the world. So you understand? So in this course of lobbying, because lobbying is like talking to these and all of that, and when you are lobbying, you are dragging money here and there. What is the guarantee that the person you taught will represent you while we are together in the streets? You understand? The person gets to the House of Assembly, that person will still give you the kind of representation that we are expecting.
Lobbying is a big factor in lawmaking, in passing your bill into law. And lobbying is part of, or major part or role you need to play to be able to convince your people in the House to buy into the bill and to give it hearing. And well, there is no lawmaker who has publicly said that he or she received money for giving consent to a bill. But we know, we've been hearing that money also plays a role a very big role in making sure that your lobbying is seamless. But if you ask me, if your bill is robust enough, if your bill is convincing enough, and lobbying becomes an issue, you should be able to give feedback to your community. Then your community can mobilize, maybe through protests, to draw the attention of other members in the House and the executive towards that bill. That is one factor, because I do not agree with the fact that a representative or a lawmaker comes back to say that this bill did not succeed because I had no personal money to lobby for it. No. If you are willing to effect a change to your constituency, you should be able to consult. You should be able to make a wide consultation before you can be able to bring up a robust policy. You see, I have always said this, that let us always look at the capacity of the persons, individuals. Yes, individuals
that are vying for those positions.
Exactly, that we are admiring or planning to vote into power. Because if these persons lack that capacity to be able to evaluate, go through your policy.
This is actually taking me to my next question. What kind of person should we be looking out for as this election comes up tomorrow? What kind of, you understand?
See,
what kind of character are you talking about now?
We should be looking at characters who are reachable.
Okay.
You cannot come to contest for a constituency that you barely visit.
Okay.
You cannot tell me that you become a very good lawmaker to them. People should look out for humble persons who are always there for them, even without being a lawmaker, or who had performed in the past, and they tasted that dividend of democracy.
Even when it's not even in the house.
Yes, or even when he was once in the house. So a lawmaker who is, a person who is vying to be a lawmaker should be reachable. Should be, at least if you are not residing in that area.
But some people could be very, very deceptive because they know what they want. They know
not when
listen,
it's time.
Listen, they know what they want. They know quite right that, okay, maybe next dispensation, I'm going to the House of Assembly. So let me pretend as if I'm good.
They start
doing everything.
They start the process immediately.
Character is something that you cannot hide for too long. It will definitely surface. I know of a person who was voted in as a senator. He was never a senator. He has never been in the National Assembly.
He was a first timer.
A first timer. But all his life, he has been a very great philanthropist. He has been an employer of labor.
Most politicians, that's what they do before they go into politics.
No, he has been an employer of labor. He has been there for different projects that elevates poverty in his constituency for a very long time. So when he now came out as a first timer, he was voted into power. So same people should also learn from such thing. Someone who has never, you don't even know the person, you barely know the person, will just come from nowhere and pick up a ticket because he or she can afford it and begin to spend in political parties to buy their interest, and they give him, he or she, the flag. So it does not really mean that when you vote such a person into power, that you will get true representation. People should always look out for those who are reachable, who are always there for them, who has effected one or two change in that community within their little capacity. And it might be those who has been there, that performed credibly well, should be given the second chance to consolidate or to even expand what they did earlier, because things are evolving. Probably when they were there, something happened now that didn't happen then. So those things are the things I'm advising electorate tomorrow to put into consideration. Lobbying is essential. Essential in the sense that it starts from the point of policy formulation. It starts from the point of collective interest. Trying to know what is necessary, what the people really need. I didn't say want. What they really need in such communities. By the time you are able to bring those factors together, in consent of your people, consent of your gatekeepers, you will be able to have policy that can never experience rejection. Policies that that is sustainable, policies that has to impact life, does not really require too much lobbying to be considered.
No problem. Barrister Ewo, you know that when you look at the candidates that we have now, over 80% of them, they are first-timers. They have never been there before. They never contested and all of that. With you, when you put all of this into cognizance, I'll ask you the same question. What kind of characters should one go and put his bet on, so to speak, should one go and vote for to represent us at the House of Assembly in those states?
Yes, I want to say sincerely that, of course, it is unimaginable that people are rated based on the fact that they are philanthropists. I do not agree that because somebody is a philanthropist, he should be considered for election. I mean, to be considered to be elected or given the mandate to represent his constituency. It may be an advantage also, but that this man doles out money for the past 4 years because he knows he's going to occupy an office. He starts being grateful, and he goes to an occasion, he buys beer for people, he buys drinks, other things, buys food, and then donates to orphanages and the rest of them.
He could be investing.
It's not. He has started investing, but again, is that a factor to determine the suitability of a candidate in an election of such a magnitude? The business of lawmaking, the business of being a member of the House of Assembly is a very serious one. We call them honorable members.
Right.
And because they are honorable members, we must look out for the capacity of these persons who are vying. Whether they have the capacity to, first of all, sit as honorable members of the House. Then secondly, their pedigree. Whether they are persons with integrity, persons who could look at you, look at the authorities, look at the executive, and speak truth to power, to say, look, this is what my people want. And whether these persons are persons also who have an open door policy. You see, the business of lawmaking requires that you should be one who relates with your people, who, like my sister said, Doris, who is reachable. Not just reachable, but identifying with your people, so that your people are not disconnected from you. Yeah. Because this is a serious business for 4 years. And you see, unfortunately in our system today, we've not really had experiences of the constituency recalling a member from the House. It's one weapon which electorates have.
That they are not using.
Yes, to recall a member of the House who is a arms chair, who is just a seat.
For underperformance.
For underperformance.
Okay.
Somebody who goes there and is just, whatever either is sleeping, is snoring, or is not even saying anything.
Say hi.
And, or is always seconding.
Okay.
And it is not good at all. People should begin to look at the powers that they have.
Barrister Pius.
Ensuring that...
Barrister Pius Oyiwo, former NBA Chairman, Benin Branch. Thank you so much for investing your time with us on the program today. Doris Ogbefu, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
This way we are going to drop the curtains on today's episode of Nigerian Decides. Don't forget that tomorrow is the day we'll be waiting for. Go out there with a PVC and go and vote for candidates of your choice. Like I've always said, and I'm saying it again, if you don't vote, you lose your right to complain. My name is Thomas Ado. Good morning.